Okay, so I just bought, let's see if you can see, $15 worth of food. My ground beef was only like $6.60 of that. You can see it right there. Boop, ground chuck. And then $8 of it was kefir. So I bought a container of raw kefir, and I'm gonna give this to Dora. She's been on antibiotics for a leg wound. Kind of a, here, wait, let me get cozy. Let's have a moment together, shall we? Okay, so kind of a little tip on kefir. I am always suspicious about whether the bacteria in it is still alive when I buy it from the grocery store. So what I do, and I don't drink it if I don't do this, is I leave it sit out. I'll shake it up really good, crack the top so it's got a little bit of airflow, because as bacteria grow, it will expand and you don't want it to explode. And then I leave it out on the counter. And I'll shake it periodically throughout the day and just check on it. What I want to see is when I open it up and look in, I want to see it start to bubble at the top. And basically I want to re-ferment it. I want to prove that the bacteria are alive by making them grow again. And depending on how warm it is, it'll take longer or shorter periods of time to do it. I also like to check when I buy them, like I'll like move the bottle back and forth and try to see the viscosity of the liquid inside, because if it's really watery, it's probably total dog shit. And I want it to be slightly thick, or super thick. And I only buy raw. I don't want pasteurized. I want all the bacteria. I want all the enzymes. I want everything needed to digest it. I'm only buying it to help my digestion. So why would I buy fucking dead food? That's not going to help my digestion. But anyway, so a little tip on kefir. If you're not sure if it's still alive, that's what I do. And I think it tastes way better once it's all like bubbly and frothy. And like if you leave it go, it won't just be little bubbles. It'll froth up and keep growing and growing. So you want to keep an eye on it. If you are worried it might bubble over before you can check on it, just set it in like a little dish, you know, something that's safe so it doesn't bubble out all over your countertop. And yeah, that's my tip for kefir. Alright, so today I'm like really emphasizing more and more fat. So I thought out some bone marrow. I've got my package of raw ground beef. And I'm going to finish off my little container of Masago. Also have my salt. This is just a spice storage container to keep shit organized in my house. But when I buy it, it's in a big box. I like the Maldens. Alright, so you guys know the deal by now. And if you don't know the deal by now, we don't prep it. Well, I don't prep it. I just rip it open. If there's bacteria on the outside of it, well, I guess it's probably going to end up in my food. And I just am not even worried about that. I really am not. You know, there's some really interesting stuff out there to think about with bacteria. And the more sterile the environment, I mean, studies all show that increases your likelihood of allergies and problems dealing with immune system and everything like that. So this whole idea that, oh, you know, bacteria is horrible and scary and da-da-da-da, like, it really doesn't make sense when you look at the science behind it. What I think about with bacteria is that if you get sick from bacteria, it's not a sign that you should avoid bacteria. It's a sign that there's something wrong with your system. There's something out of balance that was preventing your immune system from functioning properly. You know, you already had something bad going on, and the bacteria was just the canary in the mine, you know? Just letting you know, hey, there's kind of a problem going on over here. You might want to I want to work on this. This guy's kind of a... So sometimes you can get marrow bones that are cut lengthwise, and they're just super easy to scoop out. They're just like a U-channel. But most of the time I find them sold like this, which is like you would expect to find a dog bone. And it can make it a little more challenging to pop it out sometimes. So it just depends on the shape of the bone itself. But let's see. Oh, look at this one might work. Sometimes you can just push them right out in a little thing. If this isn't playing with your food, I don't know what is. I also didn't wash my hands before I started playing with my food. I'm sure that's going to gross somebody out, but suck it up, Buttercup. You should have known just by the title. I do wash my hands throughout the day. I'm just not that phobic about stuff, you know. I wash them when it makes sense to wash them. Oh wow, bone marrow is so good. I like it better raw than cooked. I think once it's cooked, it's too rich. It's really a lot more challenging for me to keep it down or to eat much of it once it's cooked. And just like most things, while it's raw, it has a much milder flavor. So I like it better that way. All right, let's get our salt in here. So funny enough about this, you know, I spent a long time in my life being vegetarian, vegan, or plant-based. I did keto for about 6 years, I think a little more than 6 years. And that whole time was a huge emphasis on plant-based nutrition. Tons of plant proteins, yada, yada, yada. I couldn't quite figure out, why am I still sick all the time? And why do I feel like shit? And why can't I put on muscle at the gym? Yeah. Because plant-based is total bullshit. It really is. Any of the arguments in favor of it have no solid foundation. They're so easy to poke holes in. You kill more animals. It's worse on the environment. You destroy ecosystems. It's not healthier. Oh God, it's most definitely not healthier. I was watching this video somebody shared about a woman who gave up veganism because it caused early menopause. And I thought, you know, they had included some quotes from the lady about, explaining what was going on with her and why she decided to go off of being vegan. And it was just so incredible because even as she was saying veganism destroyed my health, I mean, that is, early menopause is destruction of health. There's people even questioning whether menopause is actually normal in humans, or if women should continue to cycle their entire life. If that's actually, just because it's normal and it happens to everybody doesn't necessarily mean that that's actually how humans are supposed to function. I think that's a huge warning right there about what our understanding of diet is. But anyways, that's a whole different conversation to have. But even if she's explaining that it destroyed her health, she's also saying, oh, well, it wasn't right for me, but there's still nothing wrong with veganism. The disconnect. Like, I see that happen a lot. Well, you know, everybody's an individual and everything in moderation, and I think moderation is total bullshit. Moderation, like, oh, just eat a little bit of everything and everything will be fine. A little bit of everything, if you go in the grocery store, the majority of everything isn't even real food, but it's chemical bullshit. It's what gives you chronic illness and diabetes. And that's what the average expectation is for people. It's normal to get diabetes. It's normal to be overweight. It's normal to have chronic health issues starting in your 20s. Why is that normal? God, bone marrow is so fucking good. Really, really great way to add extra fat. And it's usually pretty cheap. This stuff that I bought the other day was actually pretty pricey, but it was the only option there. And I don't normally shop. That was at Sprouts. Sprouts, I do not love. They tend to be more expensive than other places in the area for me. And a lot of times they're out of what I want. They're almost always sold out of any kind of raw dairy. Or if they have it in stock, like raw goat kefir, it's dead. So that's disappointing. That's a waste, you know, because like $8 for a liter adds up pretty fast. I don't know. Sorry, not a liter, for a quart. So if I were to buy this bone marrow that I'm eating today from the place I usually get marrow, would probably have only run me about $1.50, $2 for that amount. $6.50 for the ground beef. Let's say the Masago is negligent because it's not. I just bought it because I like Masago. And that's a pretty cheap way to eat. I mean, this is enough for a full day's meal. Let's just say $8.50. I did have a can of sardines for breakfast, which is about $1. So, inching up towards $10 for your whole day. Super nutrition. Don't tell me you can't afford it. I know people definitely spend more than $10 a day eating junky shit. And if you manage to spend less than that on junky shit, even though it's not costing you on the back end, it's going to cost you on the front end later on with your health. Medications, doctor visits, being sick, time off work. So we got up about 7 this morning. We usually do like a 2-mile walk every morning. So knocked that out, did some work, ran to the grocery store, got this. We're parked up at the gym right now. So after I'm done eating this, I'm going to do a little bit more work and then go in. It's leg day. Crush that. Come back out. I've got a couple things to work on for my own stuff outside of my day job. And then I have a massage appointment tonight, which I'm really excited about. I really don't splurge on a lot of things. I prioritize what I put my money into with food and health, because what I've found is that if I feel like shit, everything else kind of sucks. Like, if I'm spending my money on other things, those things aren't as rewarding because I feel like dog shit anyways. So I would much rather spend my money on feeling amazing. And then I really don't need a whole lot else to entertain me. Like, when you feel good, you just come up with fun stuff. Like, I don't know. I never get bored. I never get bored. I don't need constant entertainment or diversions, distractions. The best bone marrow ever. So the first time I figured out the whole caviar is amazing on ground beef, I had taken my ambulance into the shop and it had a whole bunch of shit that needed to get fixed right now. So they had to keep it overnight, and since it's my house, we didn't have a way to drive anywhere, so we literally walked like 5 miles down the road and stayed at the nastiest Fleabag motel. But before we went down there, I stopped to get some food, and I don't know why, but caviar just jumped out at me. I was like, well, let's give this a shot. I don't really have much else to make it exciting. So, sitting in this grimy hotel, hoping that nobody noticed a solo woman walking in with a expensive laptop bag. Just covered my ground beef with it. That was what it was. I didn't have any salt with me. I wanted something salty for it because also I needed more sodium. And I was like, yeah, caviar will work. It's super salty. So I covered it in it, and it was just so magical. So magical. And I was hooked. It took every ounce of my being not to buy a jar of caviar at the grocery store today because they had my favorite thin. And I love it, but what I hate about it, it's got dyes in it. Really toxic dyes. So I decided not to get it because sometimes you just make the right decisions in life, even when you really want to make the wrong ones. But it does take practice. There have been a lot of times in the beginning on carnivore where I just could not get my shit together. I'd have like a whole week of just eating crap and I couldn't get back on the wagon, and then, okay, finally, let's do it, let's rally. And I think because of how social media is set up, we don't really see the process that people go through when they actually make change in their life. So we just assume that, oh, they made a decision and snap, overnight they were perfect at it. Anybody that's good at anything probably failed a lot. I mean, there's some people that are just naturally talented that just get it, but that's not the norm. Most people fall flat on their face over and over and over again. I'm really excited about today's leg day. I'm going to see if I can put in... I'm really hoping I can hit like 32,000 pounds of volume for the whole session. That would be pretty good. I mean, that would actually be really good. My average for Monday leg days is around 24,000. But I kind of want to push the needle on it because A, I'm going to have a 90-minute massage right after, so that'll help recovery. But also I really want to start pushing my training a little harder. After being off for so long. Or not off, but just not quite 100%. And I use an app to track all my workouts. I use Heavy, H-E-V-Y. I think it's both Android and Apple, but for sure Android. No, I'm not getting paid for this. They don't even have an affiliate program, trust me, I checked. I was like, I love you guys, I want to promote you. Like, can I get paid for promoting you? They don't have anything like that. But I still love them, so I still talk about them all the time. What I really like about it, that a lot of other apps either make really difficult or they don't allow, you can add custom exercises, and like with quite a few metrics as well. So they're not super basic. You can actually track things like whether it's weight based or body weight based or cardio, etc., etc. I'm sorry, I got the burps because it's so good I eat so fast. And then you can also create your own workout routines and save them and organize them and all that shit. Which I love, because then I can plan ahead. Like, okay, I want to do 12 weeks of this specific routine on these specific days, blah, blah, blah. Just plan it out, and then when I go to start my routine, I just go right to whatever plan that I'm doing, click on the day, boom, and you can organize it by folders and name them and describe them, and just makes it really, really simple to organize yourself. Plus, if you like ever buy or just find a routine that you like and you want to use, you can just add it in the app, and then you have it with all your other routines. You can go from one routine to another, back and forth and round and round. And they have a social element to it because you can actually follow other people, see what they're doing with their specific workouts. You can take whatever workout they did and make a routine out of it if you want to, things like that. We are down to the last bit. I'm telling you, that Misago is so good. I'll refrain from licking the entire container. Okay, so what's amazing about this whole thing, that was a full day's worth of food. Like 1.34 pounds of ground beef, a lot of fat. And after all of that, I just feel satisfied. I don't feel overfull. I don't feel stuffed in any way. I'm not hungry. Like, I'm not like, oh, that wasn't enough, I want more. I'm just pleasantly satiated. It's amazing. Do some work, then go to the gym.